Manchester United have just won in the FA Cup quarter-final and are going to Wembley again. That's good. But for precisely 72 minutes, we're second best to Fulham and we're absolutely going out. That's bad. Thankfully, though, I can illustrate the very small, subtle tactical tweak that happened, which changed the game in their favour. Which is, look here, Fulham, they're 1-0 up. They've matched them up 4-2-3-1. They're defending really well. They're getting the ball back. They're creating chances. They're probably going to get a second goal. But then, and we'll just highlight Mitrovic here and Willian there, and there's Marco Silva on the touchline. This happened. And yeah, that'll do it. Now, don't get me wrong, you're a Man United fan. You've just won yet another very important game in what appears to be a ceaseless run of very important games. You probably do not care less about the how. But you're Eric Ten Hag, you're a big bald nerd who's paid incredibly well to figure these things out. You probably do care that you played Fulham at home and had virtually no control of the game until you had a two-man advantage. You will absolutely be trying to work that out. I'll just skip to the good part here for both you and him, if he's watching, which I presume he's not. The problem is in this area of the pitch here, and specifically the enormous Casemiro-shaped hole Man United had in their midfield. Now, I know what you're thinking. Casemiro, he's been a revelation for Manchester United. Everybody knows this. They were a team that had virtually no steel, no solidity, no heart in the centre of midfield. A lot of talent, a lot of ability, etc., but they would lose midfield battles in so many games. That was the area that teams throughout the league were convinced they could get at Man United in, and now they can't. Now you don't lose that battle. And the reason for that, everybody knows, is because Casemiro is an absolute bastard. Not in like the Pepe sense or anything, don't get me wrong. He's just really difficult to play against. Like, he wins the ball back, he's determined, he's good on the ball. He's the exact opposite kind of player you want to be up against in that area of the pitch. His defensive contribution to Manchester United cannot be understated. Everybody already knows this. Now, not to get you too excited, but in just a few moments, I'm going to tell you why that is not the reason he is so badly missed. Why his defensive contribution is amazing, yes, but its absence is not why Man United occasionally struggle to control games. But we will quickly look at it first because I just want you to understand how good it is. Alright, so the headline stat for Casemiro at Manchester United is that per 90 minutes, he makes somewhere between 5 and 6 major defensive contributions. Tackles or interceptions. Winning the ball back in a good area, he does that between 5 and 6 times a game. I think he's exactly 5.5 per game across the entire season. And you might be thinking, that's not an enormous number for somebody in that position. But just to put it into context, the next nearest player on the team is Lisandro Martinez. He does it just over 3 times per game, and then below that everyone's sort of like 1s or 2. So Casemiro roughly makes double the defensive contribution any other player in a Man United shirt in 90 minutes. The really crazy stat is that he actually leads the team as well for aerial duels won in all competitions. Like, not the centre-backs who have to deal with crosses and corners, etc, etc. Casemiro wins the ball in the air more than any other player playing for Man United. Dalot, Shaw, Martinez, Varane, they've all won the ball back something like 30 odd times in the air this season. Casemiro's nearly done it 40 times. It might seem like a bit of an anomalous stat, but it proves there's something in his positioning, something in his determination that is happening on purpose. So undeniably, you're going to miss that kind of contribution from any player, regardless of the opposition. But, and again, no disrespect to Fulham, it was Fulham at Old Trafford, and Man United managed to line up pretty much as close to full strength as they were going to in this competition. Like, if we just look at the 11 they had out last night, you'd probably say Man United's strongest team is mostly there. Like, De Gea's there, it's kind of a coin toss at the minute between Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. Shaw's undeniably the first choice left back. Varane and Martinez, they've pretty much cemented themselves in that position. Then at the front, the positions seemingly change all the time, but Sancho's come back in the number 10. He's done really well there. Weghorst, yes, he has played around the place, but he's been leading the line. Rashford's there. Fernandes is there. It's only really in the centre of midfield that you've got some kind of problem. Now, yes, Maguire had come in for Varane, but the reason Man United weren't controlling the game wasn't because they were having loads and loads of chances created against them. They're actually defending pretty well. This part of the pitch here couldn't get anything going because at full strength, that is Christian Eriksen and that is Casemiro, whereas last night, that was Scott McTominay and that was Sabitzer. Genuinely relatively good players. Sabitzer got a very important goal. He's been pretty good since he came in. Scott McTominay gets way too much hate for what he's actually done for that club, but crucially, they're just not those two. Now, the thing about Eriksen is that people constantly shout that name in the street at me, but the other thing about Christian Eriksen is he was brought in to add so much quality on the ball to this team, to get it in any kind of position and then make that situation more dangerous. That's what he does. Now, as a result, per 90 minutes, Christian Eriksen leads that Man United team for progressive passes. And yep, some of you may be asking, What is a progressive pass, Adam? How do you have an unprogressive pass? Well, I'll explain. So you know some teams are just full of like little passing nerds and they get like 99% pass completion and they do 400 passes a game, but it's all just nothing really interesting happens with it. Well, progressive passes is a stat they came up with to kind of measure the importance and the quality and the general thrust of the pass. It basically means any pass that's not in your defensive third and progresses the ball around about 10 yards closer to the opposition goal. Basically, the kind of pass you always want your players to make. Now, it's not a perfect metric, like a 50-yarder into the channel will count exactly the same as like a beautiful little 15-yarder that puts someone into goal and they score from it. But nonetheless, when someone's on the ball, you want them to go forward, you want them to advance the situation. That's what a progressive pass is. And Christian Eriksen, per 90 minutes, makes more of those for Man United than any other player. But the thing is, Christian Eriksen's been injured for ages and he's still got like at least another month out at the time of me recording this video. So who is Man United's next most progressive passer of the ball? Which of the front four here do you think compares to Eriksen? Oh no, I've done a little tricksy. It's none of these four players at all. The next most progressive passer of the ball for Man United is Casemiro. Yeah, more than Bruno Fernandes, more than Marcus Rashford, more than Jadon Sancho, more than anybody else, Casemiro gets on the ball in this part of the pitch and thinks, how can I progress this forward? How can I force the opposition back? And that is how you control games of football. Now, full disclosure here, the numbers are marginal between Fernandes and Casemiro and do actually vary depending on where you go and look for them, but everywhere it's fairly consistent that Eriksen leads the team with about 6.5 progressive passes per game, and then Fernandes and Casemiro, they're both around the 6 mark. Now, I know what you're thinking, that could just mean he's pumping it long into the channel, he's hitting this area here and this area here, and while it is useful, it's not really making anything happen. Is he getting into these sort of positions and playing those kind of passes, or is he getting somebody in behind here, etc.? Is he doing stuff that actually leads to attempts on goal? And yes, he is. Second only to Bruno Fernandes, who I will tell you in a minute is incredibly far ahead in this statistic. Casemiro is second in this team for passes that lead directly to an attempt on goal. It's actually quite a funny stat, this one. Like Shaw, Rashford and Sancho, they're all sort of like low 30s, early 40s. And Casemiro, he's got like 45 of these passes across the entire season. And then Bruno Fernandes, anyone? Any guesses? Has over 100. So yeah, he's quite good. But Adam, I'm still not convinced anybody can just pass it to a teammate who then just blares it into row Z. Is there any measure of the quality of these chances he's helping to create? And yes, there is. And again, Fernandes is way out ahead for this particular stat, but second in this Manchester United team for expected assists, the number which measures the likelihood these passes will lead directly to a goal, is Casemiro. So just to really hammer this point home here, why Casemiro has become so important to Man United. Yes, you take that man out of the pitch and all of a sudden your defensive cover goes away. You lose the majority of your tackles and interceptions every single game. Yes, that's bad. You don't want that to happen, but you are also losing the second or third most creative player in your entire team for taking the ball from any location on the pitch and putting it in a more advantageous position. That is why you don't control games when you don't have him in a team. I don't know how to put this any more plainly. Like, Casemiro is an absolute monster in this area of the pitch, but he also makes things happen in the Kenny Loggins area, in the danger zone. And this, of course, does create problems all of its own. No straight red cards at Real Madrid ever, and now 2 in his first season at Man United. And ooh, why could that be? Well, because when you're asking someone to take on so much work, the cracks will eventually begin to show. Without Eriksen in that side, he's having to do so much more of the work with progressing the ball as well as winning it back, and those 2 red cards he's had, it's not really his fault. Well, I mean, obviously it was his fault. He did make those challenges. He could have just not done that. I think he could talk his way out of that. I think I could talk my way out of that, so. And the thing is, with Eriksen out for a while now and the fixtures continue to pile up, it is a lot to be asking of one player, but ask him they're almost certainly going to have to do regardless. Or I think, anyway, I don't know, might be absolutely off my head. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I know people say that on YouTube channels all the time, but we are trying to grow this bad boy, and that does really help you grow these bad boys. So tell your friends about it. Send them a link. Ask them how they're getting on. They probably miss you. You can get me on Twitter at Adam Cleary, Clery, and 442 across the entire social spectrum at 442. Plus, brace yourself, there's even time to buy our exquisitely designed, beautifully written best football magazine in the world, Football Magazine, from all good retailers. And you suspect most of the bad ones too. In the meantime though, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you real soon. Not in a weird way, just when you're back here on YouTube. Goodbye. And that's it, that's the video. Thank you so very much for watching and making it all the way till the end. Somebody's keen. While you're here, please do consider subscribing to the 442 YouTube channel. We've got loads of awesome football content dropping all through the week, as well as an amazing library of documentaries, player interviews, and performance guides as well. Until next time though, thank you once again for watching. I do hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.